With the box office metrics for the Fantastic Four First Steps now sitting at $367 million worldwide and actually going through a 66% drop globally speaking, we know that Disney and Marvel Studios, they went into panic mode, they went into damage control mode over, of course, all the Hollywood trades talking about this, and how now you have those out there like Pedro Pascal continuing to make things political, continuing to actually bring up MAGA and Trump supporters and Trump himself, and how it's really not helping anybody when it comes to this movie. And now you got Disney CEO Bob Iger only making matters worse. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. Now, I've said this once and I'll say it again, but this movie, it's a fun popcorn movie. It's nothing special. It's not a great film. It's not a terrible film. It's just an okay film that has some flaws here and there. That's how I see it. And when you're looking at the MCU, when you're looking at Marvel specifically, you would think that you would want this movie to do outstanding numbers, to be a must-see film that would actually make, record-breaking box office metrics, and setting things up for Avengers Doomsday and Spider-Man Brand New Day in 2026. And that's the one thing now, is that this is actually creating a loss of momentum for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. You have a lot of people waiting at home for this to arrive on Disney Plus, for example, because of how expensive it is to go to the theaters now in 2025. That's just a fact. There's a lot of families out there that are actually skipping out on the Fantastic Four. But focusing on Bob Iger, this is where it gets even worse. Now, with the Disney CEO, of course, really scrambling to actually go into damage control, and with the Disney company already panicking over the box office numbers for the Fantastic Four, after that 66% drop, both Pedro Pascal and Bob Iger's comments aren't helping that either, especially after Bob Iger engaged, of course, in a desperate form of damage control to date. Now, one major development now involves Bob Iger doubling down by delivering the following. As CEO, it is my responsibility to remain transparent and direct with both our shareholders and our core loyal customer base. For our latest feature, The Fantastic Four First Steps, what we here at the Disney company do not tolerate are critics coming from a politically motivated place to spread a false narrative about our latest project. We also can't stress this enough for our shareholders and customers to not take any politically motivated critics seriously about our latest feature that kickstarts our newest phase for the MCU and the future for Marvel Studios. We ask all trades to refrain from over-exaggerated reports about our latest box office performance and financial aspects for our latest Marvel feature. We value the entire cast and crew, including Pedro Pascal, who is by far one of our most valuable actors, who is not only part of the MCU now, but also and has been part of our Star Wars brand. We do not tolerate politically motivated critics and trades criticizing our actors and their core beliefs when promoting a film. And as for the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, we value diversity, equity, and inclusion, and our team spoke this over with Mr. Feige that this is indeed the future to create a fair and balanced structure for a valuable business model. After going over specific statistics with our analysts, I can confirm that any trades or reports that are attempting to label our latest feature, The Fantastic Four, as a failed product, it's all coming from a political landscape, and specifically critics that are against diversity, equity, and inclusion, that hold an obvious bias toward our many business models and what we value here at the Disney company. These are the same critics that tend to label our company as woke or agenda-driven, when in reality they don't even understand what that even really means. If woke or DEI is something that you would label as an agenda, then that is something that we have to address of the ongoing issues and the growing issues of entertainment facing politically driven critics. Now guys, let me just stop there. Now, the thing about Bob Iger dragging politics, just like Pedro Pascal, into the equation of this conversation about the box office performance, about critics talking about the Fantastic Four. And look, we know that there's a lot of critics out there that have varying opinions about this film, but the general outline of this movie is that it's just an okay movie. It's an alright movie, it's a popcorn flick, it's not a masterpiece by any means, it's not Avengers Endgame level, that's for sure. And you have Bob Iger continuing, and he does do this in just a moment, continuing to actually compare this to Endgame, that it's better than Endgame. Pedro Pascal did the same exact thing. It really is overselling the movie, and it actually looks very desperate. And to be real, it's shying away a lot of customers, it's shying away a lot of Marvel fans to say, yeah, maybe I'll skip it out on, seeing this movie in the theaters and wait for Disney Plus. So that's the overall problem right now, is that they're missing out on a lot of fans, a mixture of people waiting for this to come on streaming, and people that are just repulsed by people like Pedro Pascal and Disney in general, and specifically CEO Bob Iger. Now, continuing on, he goes on to elaborate further. The Fantastic Four: First Steps is our best film since Avengers Endgame, and our most valuable film to start up the next phase of the MCU, with Kevin Feige's vision coming to life. We ask everyone to refrain from any inflammatory opinions or takes on our latest film that is either baseless or coming from a political bias, because that is what ruins the experience for others. Now guys, let me just stop there for a moment real quick again. You know what also destroys the experience for others? Pedro Pascal going on a continuous political rant about Trump, MAGA, Trump supporters, all this nonsense that nobody wants to listen to. Whether you're on the left or the right, nobody wants to hear it. People just want to actually have a regular movie theater experience. They want to actually see and listen to a normal press tour and a marketing campaign for a film to create buzz and excitement for a movie. And you just didn't quite get that with the Fantastic Four, especially after Joseph Quinn's comments and how he made things political as well. Doesn't really help anything at all either. And look, that's exactly why there's a lot of Marvel fatigue going on right now. This is indeed a damaged brand, there's no doubt about that. And whether or not Avengers Doomsday is going to be able to pick things up, that's really now a big question open on the table, right? After what happened with Fantastic Four. Moving on, he goes on to conclude, I am very confident in our financial projections for the Fantastic Four, and I hold no concern both in the short and long term for these new characters and their future in the MCU, and how we will value Pedro Pascal as the new face of this phase as Mr. Fantastic. So that's another big problem going into Avengers Doomsday, is that, yes, Mr. Fantastic is going to be a core plot to the actual story. He's going to be a core actual element to the story, and he's going to be a major face, a major player in the actual film. There's a lot of Pedro Pascal fatigue going on right now. That's a fact. People just felt he was miscast in this movie, and I felt the same exact way. That was also the one big flaw in this film, is that he just doesn't seem like a Reed Richards to me. Based on Pedro Pascal's acting capability in this film, based on the appearance of himself as Mr. Fantastic, they would have done a very good job if they maybe just said, let's keep John Krasinski and bring him into the Fantastic Four: First Steps. That would have been a very good move, and I think it would have absolutely improved the experience, but that's just my take on things. Overall, I would love to hear what everyone has to say about Bob Iger and bring up, tiresome political talking points yet again, and how he's labeling critics as politically driven. Any critic out there that has a somewhat negative opinion about the film or calling out the flaws. But I would like to hear what you all have to say about that below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I'll catch you guys later.